immediately after the 11th, I probably didn't sleep a decent night for months. I had a complete and utter fear of ever getting in an airplane again. There isn't a day that goes by I don't see the plane hit the building. The first time I did fly again, I was so petrified I almost couldn't sit in the seat because I kept seeing that image over and over again.
It just happened a couple of seconds ago. I went to the soda machine, and it dawned on me it's where the first fatality was. On the floor, I looked down at the floor, and I can actually see the person laying there.
It's still pretty hard because for a few times I went out to that construction site, and there's still that taste in my mouth that you can still taste that jet fuel, or maybe it's psychological, I don't know. But you still can taste it in the back of your mouth.
I didn't hear anything, but I saw the aircraft above my head, about 80 feet above the ground, 400 miles an hour. The reason, I have some experience as a pilot, and I looked at the plane, didn't see any landing.
8:48 a.m., September 11, 2001. Personnel in the Navy Command Center at the Pentagon, which is located on the first floor of the building's southwest face, learned of the attack on the World Trade Center from television reports. The center is tasked with constantly monitoring global current events and also monitoring the latest status of all U.S. naval assets around the world. Its employees have to keep Navy leaders in Washington up to date on what is happening in the world as it directly relates to Navy operations and other security or military issues. Admiral Timothy Keating, who is the Navy's Director of Operations at the Pentagon, describes it as a nerve center. 40 to 50 people man it constantly, 24 hours a day. Located within the center is the Chief of Naval Operations Intelligence Plot, a small, highly secretive intelligence unit that constantly monitors geopolitical developments and military movements that could threaten American forces. The Navy Command Center has just been renovated, and its dozens of employees have been moving in during the past month. According to the Washington Post, the first command center knows nothing of the unfolding crisis when Petty Officer Michael Allen North sees the scene from the World Trade Center on the TV set, bolted to the wall, and shouts, "My God, what's happened?" Another employee, Lieutenant Kevin Schaefer, later recalls, "We quickly knew what was going on in New York City after the first plane hit the first tower and stood up to watch to start logging events and tracking things for the Navy." Despite the center supposedly being a nerve center, those in it supposedly are not initially aware that this is a terrorist attack. According to Timothy Keating, who is presently in the Navy Command Center receiving his daily briefing, "We were quite bewildered. We couldn't understand how a pilot could make such a significant navigational error on a day when the skies were crystal clear blue." All 30 people in the command center's main room watched the footage of the World Trade Center on the large televisions there, whispering to each other, "Think it's an accident?" However, according to the Washington Post, a few old hands muttered to themselves that the Pentagon was probably next. According to one officer, it is only when the second plane hits the World Trade Center that there will be an almost instantaneous recognition that this is a terrorist attack. By that time, Timothy Keating will have gone back to his office. He, too, supposedly only realizes this is a terrorist attack when he sees television showing the second crash. Much of the Navy Command Center will be destroyed when the Pentagon is hit by American Airlines Flight 77 at 9:37 a.m. 42 of the 50 people working in it will be killed.